division of Nigeria don't they interesting as they don't they sanction so many people will be say they collect bribe, will be say they hand under the umbrella say Nigeria did peaceful. So many things don't they go on. Israel don't they involve. US don't they involve. So many world powers don't they involve on waiting they go on for Nigeria and separation of their country. So as it stands right now, Biafra is going to come in no distant time. I'm not going to talk much. I go want make you pay attention. Watch this video from the start to the end. Listen to waiting they go on right now because a lot of people don't they involved. They know put eye for Nigeria matter and people will be say don't collect bribe for US to make sure see Biafra no come. In fact, so many things is going on. The time that has come. I tell you, I say the way the matter they go right now, in no distant time, Biafra will be declared because the pressure now don't they day everywhere now, don't they day on Nigeria. Even Tinubu now they on a hot seat because of a criminal case now again, we do not open in case file. So a lot of things don't they go on. I'm not going to just talk much. Pay attention, watch this video from the start to the end. Share this video to every Biafra so that they go hear what thing they go on. And don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates. A lot is going on. And Biafra will be declared and Nigeria will be divided in no distant time. Because in fact that's the only way we can have peace, right? Freedom for Mazi Kanu and freedom for the people of Biafra. Share this video and the only one I feel take encourage supporters and click the subscribe button for more updates.
The Confidential wrote, on the other side, Biafra-linked groups are also lobbying Washington, calling for sanctions, recognition, and even future military and oil deals. I mean, how seriously are these groups being taken in U.S. policy circles?
Well, serious enough that you've got people like Ted Cruz, who is the conservative senator who chairs the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He's a big supporter of the Biafra government in exile. He's a big supporter, actually, of the Somaliland region in East Africa. And Mike Pompeo, who was the former Secretary of State, and that was under Trump's first term. And Pompeo is a very devout evangelical Christian, and so is Cruz, and they're combining the two things where they're talking about the rights of the people of Southeast Nigeria, and also this issue again of protecting Christians. So yeah, they've got a lot of sway within the Republican Party. And a lot of this stuff, Charles, is about sentiment as much as anything else. It's often free from, shall we say, established facts and evidence. It's a sense that these are evangelical Christians who put that belief above all else. And the Biafran lobbyists have been extremely effective over probably 20 years working through the religious right in the US, which brings together a lot of these evangelical groups, and they're big financiers of the Republican Party. And as the Republican Party has moved to the right, so have they. And they've become a big mobilizer of votes for the Republican parties. So there are people who are evangelical Christians who may not like the look of Donald Trump and his various comments about women and all the rest of it, but they bury that concern for their the greater good, which they say is the man is for Christians. He's for evangelical Christians, and in that case, we're going to give him our support. So Trump, the evangelical base is absolutely critical for Trump, and that's, I think, it accounts for some of the success of the Biafra lobby in the US.
Well, that's a very illuminating assessment from you. And in that context, Patrick, I mean, is there a risk that fringe or poorly sourced claims could begin to shape US foreign policy towards Nigeria? So Nigeria's internal security crisis is no longer just a domestic issue. It's become a high-stakes battle for influence in Washington, according to the UK-based Africa Confidential, a respected newsletter that's built a global reputation for original reporting and analysis of key political and security developments across Africa. As competing narratives over violence and claims of a Christian genocide gain traction in the US, the Nigerian government and Biafran secessionist groups are now locked in an aggressive lobbying war, each seeking the attention and support of President Trump. According to Africa Confidential, alarmed by President Trump's threat last November to go into Nigeria guns a-blazing, the Tinubu administration has moved quickly to counter separatist claims, signing a multi-million-dollar lobbying contract with a Republican-linked firm to shape U.S. policy on visas, military cooperation, trade, and religious freedom. The scale of Abuja's effort far outweighs that of the pro-Biafra groups, who are also lobbying Washington, pushing for sanctions, diplomatic recognition, and even future military and oil agreements. So what's really at stake in this foreign lobbying battle? And how could it shape Nigeria's security, sovereignty, and international standing?
Lobbying firm, and then started backing the MPLA, and who was paid $1 million a year to run a website for the MPLA, and that's often the case. And I think the problem with this lobbying business is it's a sort of privatization of diplomacy, and it downgrades the real decision makers and the state, and it downgrades accountability. And I think that came out very strongly when U.S. President Trump made his threats about going into Nigeria guns a-blazing, and suddenly the government in Abuja had to react really quickly, appoint ambassadors, not just to the US and UK, but several other countries, and then start this kind of negotiation with the US officials.
We are a peace-loving community that strongly believes in the rule of law, national unity, and peaceful coexistence. At the same time, we firmly hold that fairness remains a vital component of justice.
The community expresses readiness to engage in dialogue with the federal government, insisting that peaceful engagement remains the way forward.
We are not saying that, we are just pleading, because we know he has that power to forgive him unconditionally. Because look at, he has been incarcerated for a long time. We are not going to know whether he was justified or not.
The release will bring more peace in the eastern part of Nigeria. They know the influence Nnamdi Kanu commands in the eastern part of Nigeria. And if he comes out tomorrow and he tells everybody, let there be calm, everywhere will be calm.
Other stakeholders urged the government to extend to Kanu the same consideration previously granted to other freedom fighters.
Nnamdi Kanu's case is not an exception, because we know that somebody like Sunday Igboho has been released. He's going everywhere in the street. And we know as well that all the Boko Harams and all of them, they are giving amnesty and all that. So why won't Nnamdi Kanu be released?
They maintain that they have stood firmly with their son and brother throughout his trial.
We are not happy for having our son behind us. Therefore, we gathered today to plead to the government to release our cherished son.
99-year-old community member Masera Oparacha says her greatest wish is to see Kanu regain his freedom in her lifetime. The gathering concluded with an appeal to President Bola Tinubu to consider their plea, while thanking supporters who have continued to advocate Kanu's release. In Abia for News Central.
Nnamdi Kanu is somebody who has compassion for his neighbor, irrespective of your religion. I can tell you that as I speak to you now, Nnamdi Kanu gave me about 6 names of Fulani or people from Zamfara who were detained in the DSS, they are still there to go to court on their behalf. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu took care of that bill.
You have worked with Nnamdi Kanu for a while, closely, for a number of years now.
Yes.
A lot of people just knows Nnamdi Kanu they see on the media. And I don't think that's a whole of a person. How can you define Nnamdi Kanu?
Nnamdi Kanu is an Igbo man who believes in the Igbo cause and in the Igbo identity. He is also a humanist who believes that every other human being has a right to exist freely and enjoy the facilities that God in heaven has created. Nnamdi Kanu is somebody who has compassion for his neighbor, irrespective of your religion. Now, when Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in 2015 and detained in Kuje Correctional Center, do you know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was virtually paying the fines of convicts who are not Igbos, who are Hausa, Fulanis, and other tribes, paying their fines and asking them to release them to go? He was not tribalistic. But though he believes in the Igbo cause, but he also believes that every other human being is a human being.
He's a human being, first of all.
No. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I'm sure you may have listened to the interview of the current NANS president who met Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the DSS detention. He gave testimony of how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu welcomed him, even though he is Northern and a Muslim. He gave testimony of how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu accommodated even the Fulanis in the detention center, solving their problems. In fact, the Fulanis there feel more comfortable discussing with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu than discussing with officers of the DSS. I can tell you that as I speak to you now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gave me about 6 names of Fulani or people from Zamfara who were detained in the DSS. They are still there to go to court on their behalf. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu took care of that bill. There is one, Kasimu Abdullahi from Zamfara. The other one is Kasimu Aliu and Sabiatu Abdullahi, both of them from Zamfara State. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu directed me to take their matter to court to ensure their release. He didn't ask them whether you are Fulani, whether you are Hausa, whether you are whatever. And you know the funny thing? These guys were arrested from Zamfara State, brought down to Abuja without a single notification to their family.
So to their family, they are missing.
To their family, they believe they were kidnapped by bandits. So they are just waiting maybe the day they will call for ransom. Their brothers, I called them on phone. When I visited Nnamdi Kanu, he got phone numbers with which I called their brothers from Zamfara. They were shocked
to hear that
they are in Abuja. Mudashiru, the other man is Mudashiru, Aliu, and I've forgotten the second man's name. They all traveled from Zamfara and met me in Abuja here. They were in my office on Friday also, because the brother's case came up on the 4th of December. Now, you arrested this man. You brought them to Abuja. You did not give them opportunity to call their people to tell them where they are. You didn't give them opportunity to hire a lawyer.
And they've been there for
like 6 to 7 months now.
Whoa.
No trial, no court proceedings, nothing. Now, Nnamdi Kanu, without thinking, whether they are Easterners or Westerners or Northern or whatever, gave me a charge. Take these people's matter to court and see that they are released. Their matter is before the Jabi High Court number 51. Jabi High Court number 51. Now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is such a person who believes in the essence of life. He believes in the essence of life. You know, that people have this notion that, like the judgment the court read the other day, which we are challenging seriously because we didn't see any merit in that judgment. The court, for instance, felt the ruled that Nnamdi Kanu was the cause of the mayhem going on in the southeast and even during the NSAS riots. For instance, how can you accuse Mazen Nnamdi Kanu of killing
30,000 people?
That is Ojus Okalo for you.
Yes.
The man who claimed he loved Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, who say he's fighting for his safety, who say he's fighting for his release, who say he's fighting for his well-being. Now, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is convicted and sentenced. He came on national television to say Mazen Nnamdi Kanu killed 30,000 people. And we, as lawyers to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, will respond to him in due course, because we believe that he is talking utterly nonsense. Read my lips, nonsense. Ojus Okalo was speaking nonsense. And I wish he would hear this interview, because he does not have any data whatsoever to claim that Mazen Nnamdi can kill 30,000 people. Did he kill 30,000 people from London, from UK, or from Kenya?
They're saying that his words like inciting people.
No, you see, that's the funny thing. They say his words incited people. We went through a trial that lasted for over 10 years. They did not bring one single human being to say it was Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's word that made me kill this person or burn this house or burn that vehicle. No single human being was brought. They brought 5 witnesses. The whole witnesses brought were members of the State Security Service. None of them could say, I was there when Mazen Nnamdi Kanu directed this man to kill this man, and he actually killed that man. Nobody. And in the course of the trial, they claimed it was his words that engineered people to kill Gulag. Some of the witnesses of the DSS say Gulag was killed on Sunday. Some say Gulag was killed on Monday. Contradictions here and there. Now, since you arrested those who killed Gulag, why didn't you bring them to court
to be a witness?
To give witness and say, yes, it was a Mazen Nnamdi Kanu statement that made me kill Gulag. Meanwhile, the chief security officer of Imo State, the person of the governor, Hope Uzodinma, stated it clearly that IPOB is not responsible for the death of Gulag, that it was a politically motivated killing.
Assassination.
So, for goodness sake, where did the SSS people get their own information from? The man who was in the state on the day it happened told you those who did this are politically motivated criminals, not IPOB. Then SSS, who lives in Abuja, who traveled all the way from Abuja to Owerri when after it had happened, is not the one telling us that it was Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's speech. Meanwhile, you arrested people, you got people, you took down statements from people who were witnesses, including the driver of the vehicle where Gulag was in before he was shot. You took down his statement. He is alive. You didn't bring him to testify. That was the only man shot, killed that day. You didn't bring any of those who survived the attack to come and say what happened. You are pinning it down on Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, and unfortunately the judge believed it. Another incident, you claim that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, that it was the killing, that he said people will die. So as soon as I'm making this announcement, I now say, oh, tomorrow people will die. And then tomorrow people die. You say I'm the one who caused their death. In Nigeria, people die every day. Nnamdi Kanu didn't even need to say people will die before people will die. And I'm sure he has told us severally in so many quarters, during so many of his interviews, that you do not spill the blood of your people. When he was saying kill security agents, if you let, they cut his interviews in bits and then publish the one they feel comfortable with. Remember that security agencies were killing members of the indigenous people of Biafra. They killed them mercilessly in Aba High School. These are people who came into a school compound, a fenced school compound to protest, carrying flags. Then the next thing, security agencies opened fire, killing so many of them. They killed at Mpo. They opened fire and killed so many of them. People who had no arms. it was after that incident or those incidents that Nnamdi Kanu now say, if they kill you, kill them back. That is self-defense, and it is provided for by our laws. And unfortunately, our judge did not take that into consideration when passing his sentence. And it's quite unfortunate. We expected better from his lordship, but unfortunately,
he didn't.
Maybe the way he understood it. He delivered the judgment the way he understood it, closing his eyes to the way, to the realities
of the law,
of what happened.
Hey, are you still fighting the struggle to have independence for Biafra?
We are fighting for independence, not fighting physically with guns and bullets. We are fighting in terms of our agitation. We are fighting in terms of our belief. We're fighting in terms of our consistency to ensure that we are free, because we're not free. As a free people, we can afford to make life better for our people. Right now, we can't do that because of how Nigeria is structured and because of the very flawed foundations upon which Nigeria rests.
You called for a referendum latest this year, November, you said, I think.
Yes.
If that doesn't happen, what's the way forward? Because the way it looks like the government will definitely not agree to that.
Then there'll be no elections in Biafra land. No more elections here. They can put whoever they like in office. They can do whatever they like with their political positions. We will not engage in any political process.
You said it's a peaceful struggle, but there are some videos of you appearing in the past, especially abroad, in particular in one conference in the US, where you said you need weapons to defend yourself, you need guns and ammunition. How can we understand that in the context that you're saying it's a peaceful struggle?
I'm sure you've heard about the Fulani headsmen killing people all over the place. Have you heard about it? Exactly. So how do you intend to defend yourself against Fulani headsmen without guns and bullets? They'll be killing our people, raping our women, destroying crops in the farms, and no one does anything about it. Is that how human beings are supposed to live?
So, and you have the right to arm yourself and defend yourself with arms in that context?
Self-defense is recognized even by all the known laws of the UN. Is that not correct? We have the right. If somebody were to barge into this very interview now wielding a machete or an AK-47, are you suggesting we should let them get away with it?
You were detained for almost 2 years, from 2015 on, and actually there was no trial. No trial ever happened, and despite several court rulings that said you were supposed to be released, you were not released. Yes. Do you think you were treated in a fair way by the government? Or rather also by the justice system?
No, not fairly, because Nigeria is not a civilized country. People behave like animals. They are not reasonable enough. They're not disciplined enough. They are not mentally developed enough to run a transparent civil society. For them, they have a feudal mindset where you have the ruling class and, a multitude of poverty-stricken people who never utters any word in rebellion or to even ask questions about their plight. That is one thing we are determined to challenge.
Don't you think you insult a lot of Nigerians with that?
I'm being very kind, to be honest. I could have used far more harsher words to describe them. I'm being very kind.
So generally you don't think very positive of your countrymen then, obviously?
They are not... When you say positive, no, as individuals, perhaps there are a few good people amongst them. But as a collective, this is an absolute mess. And you can see for yourself. You need to go through the roads and see how horrible they are. Do you see how unkempt everywhere is? How filthy and dirty everywhere is? That is the product of a Nigerian system that is uniquely backwards, even by the very third world standards of Black Africa. That's the fact, and people must face up to it.
Well, I traveled in the north quite extensively, and I went to very remote areas sometimes where you would still find Igbo people living there, peaceful together with communities in the north. Don't you sometimes think that you might endanger their peaceful coexistence with the communities there, that they might get into trouble with that?
So if they are living so peacefully together, or cohabiting so peacefully as you put it, how come you hear about all those uprisings in the north where southern Christians are being slaughtered and nothing gets done about it? Are you telling me that that is normal? People are in the north out of a dire need, necessity more or less, to try and survive. Because here, the entire production process has been emasculated by people and policies that are geared towards ensuring that our people exist in perpetual state of poverty, and that is unacceptable to us. What we're asking the world to recognize is that we want to live in peace, not in pieces. We want to live in peace, just to allow us to be. Allow Biafra to exist. We were existing before the British came. Just allow us to go back to, what we were before. No African came to Europe to create countries. So for somebody to just come in here and say, you, from today your name is Nigeria, is simply laughable.
All right. In all these circumstances, has Nnamdi Kanu done anything that's almost 1% of what is going on in the rest of the country? Apart from occasional stops and direction. Tell me what is happening in the southeast. In fact, the southeast might be the most peaceful place. Apart from this occasional stops of people kidnapping one thing or the other. And they do it as a result of protests on Nnamdi Kanu. There's a pretext to commit crime because Nnamdi Kanu is held. If this was a fairly intelligent government, if they release Nnamdi Kanu today, there will be 95% peace in the southeast, and that will affect the rest of the country. Of all these governors, only Soludo of Anambra said has gone to DSS once to see him, if I'm not wrong, about a year or 2 years ago. He's gone there to see him, and after that, maybe his colleagues advised him not to get involved. Why are they afraid? The young man is very popular in the southeast. Let me not extend it to the rest of the country. If Nnamdi Kanu comes out today, Igbos will do 90% of what he tells them to do, to the interest, not just in Igbo interest, but Nigerian interest. Because what has he spoken about in the past? Mistreatment of his people. And if there is continuous and the rest of the country don't want the Igbos, then let them allow them go. This is the summary of what he's saying. How can you can't be shorter than me and be taller than me at the same time? This is a summary of Nnamdi Kanu's theory. So he didn't start today. Hazurike has done the same thing. So many other people. To the concept of Odumegwu Ojukwu himself. If you don't want your people, then let them go. And as you know, when people talk of let them go, it appears we are packing our luggage and going. Look at the contiguity. Look at Nsukka and Benue. There's no place anybody is going. It's the same country. The same market, in the same, so much of intermarriages has taken place. All we're saying that there is no governance. The summary is that there is no governance. That's what is causing all the problem. The problem of corruption has become both phenotypically and genotypically specific. That's not, it's a genetic problem now. And it is that crisis that government is not even ashamed that they said 139 million Nigerians very poor in a country of plenty. And my president junketed to Paris, from there to what is it called, to Dubai. I have never seen a group of people that are shameless. In a country, 774 local governments are challenged. Let them tell you where water is running. So people are dying because of waterborne diseases, and they don't care. And it's even more, like I was saying before we started this, if these governors were sons of Ahmadu Bello, or M.I. Baro, or Azikiwe, or Awolowo, they will say, they had determined their future. They are coming from a position, a background of wealth. But tell me which of these governors not coming from a very poor environment? Most of them, their parents have never been heard of. Most of them, when you hear the history of how they managed to go to secondary school, and finally God bless them, they become governors. So what they are paying back to society is stealing up money. I was telling somebody this morning who confronted me, Dan, what do we do? What do we do? Lead a democratic revolution. I said, I don't have the resources. I can't. I've been in PDP, not even director, because I won't comply with what they said. Yesterday we had a National Reconciliation Committee meeting. Out of 25 members, only 8 were there. So it means that part of those who have joined APC, a majority are coming out from PDP. So going to APC, what is the fundamental reason why you go to? It's because if you're moving from A to B must be better than A. So what has APC done that should be exciting to anybody to want to leave PDP? Because PDP has a track record under Obasanjo. There was debt relief that saved millions of lives in this country. Since then, what has happened? 8 years of Muhammad Buhari was a disaster in this country. I said it on this channel and other channels, even when he was in government. It was a disaster. There was no governance. And this president, when he was campaigning, said he was going to continue from where Buhari stopped. He's now seeing the true nature of where Buhari stopped. How beautiful where Buhari stopped is for the rest of the country. Isn't that a tragedy? In 21st century Nigeria, with everything God has given us, don't know where we're beginning and where. If you don't know where you're starting, how do you know where you're going? And we take it as a matter of routine. Nothing is, in our case, let's leave it for God. So God is, we are the only people God created. If we decide to be foolish, then He will be foolish with us. That is still the battle of the continuation of Nigerian civil war. The war has not ended. I think it was on China's TV. I had an interview. As I said, the day Nnamdi Kanu is released is the end of the Nigerian civil war, and that will be the day Nigeria, the Southeast, starts being integrated into the rest of the country. Look at insecurity everywhere. So is this government enjoying insecurity that their citizens are being killed? Like you were saying something earlier on. Why are our governors in the South not interested? Because the boy will overwhelm everybody. It will be an MI Okpara. You know, the people worship the name Nnamdi Kanu in the Southeast because he represents the summary of their struggle from before the Civil War, and thereafter. That's how they look at him. You know? I have stopped going to court because each time I come to court to join him, both of us start crying, and I feel very emotional about it. You know, he's a very brilliant young man that this government is wasting. Would have been a benefit for the rest of us in this country, but this is where we are. This is where we are.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with His help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass.
Right now, for what you don't hear right now, what you think, drop opinion at the comment section. Opinion is really needed. This is what we want, Biafra or nothing, because the only way we can have peace in this country now, this division, now is the only way. So, waiting everybody they talk right now, even Yoruba, everybody's not ready. So the best thing is just to differ so that everybody could just be peacefully on their own country, and competition good day for everybody to grow. So that's the best option. Keeping Mazinandi in detention for no reason, no even make any sense. So I'm not going to talk much. Share your thoughts at the comment section. Drop your opinion. Don't forget to click the subscribe button for more updates. Share this video, and the only way on our feed take encourage support us. Thank you, my lovely people.